viewers, welcome to another edition of Your Voice podcast from the stable of PBAT Media Center. My name is Adepeju Adegbite. This is the PBAT anniversary episode, and it's to mark the first year anniversary of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. With me in the studio is Mario, Martin, and J-Jam. Welcome to the studio, guys.
Thank you so much.
Let's start with the Subsidy is Gone inauguration speech that was made last year on the 29th of May 2023 by President Bola Ahmed Tinubu when he was, talking to Nigerians after he was being inaugurated as the president of this country. What do you have to say about it? Has there been any achievement so far as for the removal of the subsidy? Are there advantages, disadvantages? What do you have to say about it?
Good day, our viewers. For me, it's a very tough decision. I'll start from there. It's a very, very tough decision. We're talking about something Nigerians have been used to for over 50, 60 years. You understand? And for you to just come and cut something people have been used to for several decades, it's going to change the trajectory of their lives and all that. But another thing we must accept is the reality is the fact that if we don't take that decision, we are at the edge of bankruptcy as a nation. So I commend the president for taking that decision and for seeing it as a necessary step for the nation to progress economically. You understand? So apart from that, we've been able to achieve a lot in terms of getting new revenues, like increasing our revenue as a nation with the subsidy removal, which has led to many states, many tiers of governments now getting twice or even thrice the allocations they used to get before now. So from that aspect, the president wants the people, the real people that deserves the fund, to get them, to put it in their pocket directly, one way or the other, instead of the few elites or whoever the beneficiaries of the subsidies are before then. He wants the money to be taken from the few elites benefiting from that, then to take it to the citizens that deserve to spend it properly. So, from my own point of view, I think it's a very good decision.
What about you, Martin?
I totally align with what Mario has said. The decision to remove subsidy was very imperative, and we commend President Bola Ahmed Tinubu for going ahead with that policy statement or policy direction. The aim thing is that you don't make the omelette you so desire without breaking a few eggs. The idea is that removal of subsidy, freeing up funds to expand another critical infrastructure in the country or critical sectors of the economy to see that Nigeria is better off for it is something that we've been postponing for a very long time. And so he needed to do that, and we could see the positive outlook, especially as it has to do with our financial health of the country, and that shows fiscal responsibility. That shows that the president is looking ahead, beyond the pains we are going through now. What is to come or what is ahead is what he's looking at. The future of the country. I think that was what he looked at critically to see that decision was taken, and I think it's a very good one. Reforms are painful, and we all, as Nigerians, are feeling it. But in the end, we know that we're going to overcome. So that's my thoughts.
Thank you. J-Jam, let's hear from you.
Okay, it's very important that we put some things into perspective. Before the president came on board, during his campaign sessions, he said it in, I think, Ikoyi in Lagos. This forward with Ashwaju was with some businessmen, and they said, regardless of protests, because he knew protest was coming, people would want to mount pressure. He said he would remove subsidies. So that means somebody was intentional. He had the clear intention that this was the way to go. And so his predecessors, from Jonathan, from Obasanjo, from Yar'Adua, everybody knew that was the step that Nigeria should take. But then I think the willpower, the political power to do that was lacking. President Buhari also tried. He intended on removing that subsidy again, but he could not succeed. There's CSO, civil society organization. There's this Sarah always tracked us. They have close to 99 lawsuits.
Wow.
I can count.
That's wonderful.
So what the president coming on board to say, and he was very emphatic, he said, how could Nigeria be subsidizing Cameroon, Niger, Chad, Benin Republic, Togo, Ghana? I mean, it's as bad as that. Nigeria, as at then, when Saraki was Senate president, there was this Senate Committee on Petroleum that came up with these prognosis and said that Nigeria was using 45 million liters daily.
Wow.
And I mean, now, when the president removed the subsidy, yeah, of course, the adverse effect also came into play. But then it dropped to more than 50% less. So which means we are getting the true value for that. Now, when we taking this home, you get to know that some states are now more financially buoyant. When Buhari came on board, he had to, he met so many financial liabilities. He had to, go into the Paris fund. He extended his olive branch to some states. He did the bailout, to some states. Now, actually, it's under a year. We have states like Nasarawa getting 95% increase in their FEC accruals. We have Enugu, we have Anambra, we have Kogi. So many states are no longer going into the financial market to raise funds to fill their bills. Now we have states being, some states even came about, I think a boy said they were going to pay 100,000 to workers in December as bonuses. I mean, that shows something. Ebonyi is one of the poorest states in Nigeria. So for them, within 11 months of Ashwaju's presidency, to attempt to do that means, these are some of the benefits. And I think Nigerians can actually agree that we have actually done well significantly, because now these funds are being put into strategic infrastructure. Yes. We also have the bailout. Of course, the president is still trying to work out the modalities for the workers to get their salary, the wages, and all that. But then, all in all, of course, just like Mario said the other time, government policies and initiatives will come with some burden. The burden is what Nigerians understand, and that is why 8.7 million Nigerians decided to go with that. Because just like Jesus Christ said, he said, "Come to me, my yoke is light," right? So they believe actually this yoke was light, and that was why they decided to follow that particular yoke at that point in time. So I truly believe we've made impact, we've made progress, and of course it's a work in progress.
Apart from the infrastructures, a lot of citizens are angry. Let's be sincere. Like the transport fee has really gone up. Someone that was paying 200 naira for transport fee before now pays like 400 naira, 500 naira. So do you think there's anything the government can do for citizens of this country? At least to, reduce the burden?
Yes, there's a lot government can do. Like we did say, removal of subsidy has freed up funds that needs to be now expended on other critical infrastructure. I make bold to say that the greatest beneficiary of subsidy removal are state governments, are subnationals. I do not really think Nigeria as a whole, we can, jump frog or have growth without the full cooperation of our subnationals. The fact now that they have more money to expend, and what they are spending it on is what Nigerians should ask questions about. Public mass transits. I think any serious state government should be looking at that right now. How are state government judicially using all these funds to ensure that citizens move to different locations at prices that are very, very affordable? I think that is what citizens should be asking their state governors at this time. They should ask them, what are you doing for public mass transportation? What are you doing as regards increasing wages, wages award? How are you going to bolster or incentivize civil servants for them to have leeway to move around and go about their normal businesses. We talk about the CNGs, we talk about a lot of other means of trying to see that the cost of transportation is brought down. This is what state governments should be looking at. So I think that's what I think any serious subnational government should actually be looking at right now.
Thank you very much.
Invest in things that are very critical, that will less burden on citizens.
In addition to what he just said, I don't think we should just focus on the subnationals when in reality there's some things though which I believe the government is currently doing. The refineries, if they come up, I cannot wait to see the impact it will have on prices
Yeah,
of
you know-
fuel.
you know-
For example, for example, the diesel. The moment Dangote started releasing diesel into the market, the prices dropped from around 1,700 to 1,050. You understand? Which is very significant when you consider the cost of production and all that. So the government should, though, which I know they are currently working on,
sure.
the Kaduna refineries, the Port Harcourt refineries should come up as soon as possible. You understand? If local production is further enhanced, you understand? We work on a further local production. We can do everything locally. We don't have to import and all that. You understand?
From other countries.
Prices will go down.
Okay. During the campaign, guys, the president made a lot of promises, and one of them is the consumer credit scheme that he just approved recently. Do you have anything to say about it? Apart from the consumer credit scheme, he also made announcements about the student loan program for the students of this country, the youth, so that they can benefit, go to school, read and graduate easily. What do you have to say about it? Are there any prospects as regards these schemes?
Yeah, that consumer credit, the one you mentioned, I quite love it. It's exciting, and it has a lot of promises. Okay, it's promising. When you look at it from the surface and from what we've seen, the president has been able to set some templates, and I'm quite fascinated because so many young people are really interested in this program.
Yeah.
And the president decided to domicile this program in the hands of a young man, a 36-year-old. I mean, that's one beauty we should actually give the president kudos to, because he has been able to bring and empower so many young people, young intellectuals, bring them into the fold for them to lead in the capacity. So, I mean, when you look at countries like Botswana, countries like Mauritius in Africa, you look at countries like Southern Africa, you see these are some of the schemes that have really brought out so many people from poverty into, I mean, the middle class. Yeah. We have a growing middle class that should be supported.
Yeah, sure.
And when you have schemes like consumer credits, where people do not have to, take 10 million naira to buy a kill car, right? Then it offers people the incentive to be less corrupt, either in public or private administration. So when you see, then there's something that happened when the application, the app was launched, and we threw it out there. I just shared it on my WhatsApp status that, the president has launched the consumer credit scheme. And then under 1 hour, over 50 people came into my DM. I mean, you'll be so surprised that so many Nigerians are really following up.
Sure.
Some are following up because they want the president to feel right. I mean, we don't want to talk about them. We don't want to give them that speed, that oxygen. Some are also following up because they want to be inundated with the developments in the sample. So many people were registering, they were sending their screenshots. I said, I'm not admin, I don't be admin, but the thing is, I'm quite excited that people are excited about some of these promises coming to the light.
Yeah.
And do you know, it's quite fascinating that under 11 months of his presidency, he has been able to achieve some of the brightest ideas that he sold to the Nigerian people in the electioneering campaign.
Yeah.
I mean, take for instance, the student loan. Do you know it is quite possible, I'm not exaggerating, that outside the free school policy of the late sage, this is the brightest initiative ahead in
In fact,
Nigerian
I'll call
government.
it the most impactful
Yes,
in
since
education.
we became a republic.
Yes.
This is the most impactful, because then this is really going to bridge the gap
Yes.
Sure.
between the rich
And the poor.
Yeah. And Obafemi Awolowo said something then. I mean, I was not alive quite right, but then I read one of his books. He said he would be disappointed when he sees the children of his gatemen becoming gatemen in future. And he'll be so excited because he would have considered himself a success if he sees the son of his gateman becoming an MD. So this project is actually tailored to achieve, one, it's not free schooling. And of course, we understand that tertiary education is a choice. I mean, Nigeria is very emphatic about elementary education. So this way, the president, I believe I can give him 9 over 10. And then you see policies like student loan, you see policies like consumer credit, which we have so many opposition leaders comment the president for. And you see somebody sitting somewhere saying, I'm not kidding loans. Where, when, why? You understand? You really need to appreciate some government initiatives and policies, even if you're a propagandist. I mean, you need to appreciate the fact that consumer credit obtainable in the first world country Nigeria wants to become a first world country and you're condemning things like that. Oh, no.
I think
we cannot.
I think some people just want to be mischievous, probably because they don't like the face of the man who is doing it. So who is actually
Yes,
doing
yes,
it.
yes.
Because if you look at their manifestos, during the campaign, some of these candidates or the presidential aspirants that we did have, had some of these initiatives, as part of their manifesto. But we know that Aswaja has been very loud about most of these things we're discussing today.
Even before
Talk
the
about
campaign.
the consumer
Yeah.
credit,
Yes.
talk about the students loan. You could see videos from way back 2014 where he was talking about 4 years course being 4 years course, and that they are going to give student loans. And
The
even-
consistency is there.
yes, and even in the 10th colloquium of his birthday that happened in Lagos, where he was pointing at Gemovia, telling him to think about a consumer credit system that will reduce propensity for corruption. That's going to make people embrace credit such that you buy
Martin,
things.
it's even funny that Nigerians would think somebody like Gemovia,
Yeah.
the person who founded Zenith Bank, would accept to chair the NEL fund.
The name fund. He's chairman today.
Having not seen clarity of purpose.
From my side, I think the people who are ardent followers of my social media pages during the election
Okay.
would know so much that I'm a big fan of the consumer credit and the students loan. In fact, if you go on my page on Twitter, you'll find up to 5, 6, 7 videos of the consumer credit promises that I posted about
Okay.
Asiwaju. The one when he was advising the former president to think about it, when he was advising the vice president to think about it. There is no way we move forward as a nation if we don't get a burden of finding lump sum to pay. If we don't lift that burden off our citizens, there's no way we'll move forward as a nation. The middle class is eroding away, or how do I say it?
Yes.
Yeah, the gap has.
It's too wide. You understand? And for us to have a president who is thinking of implementing that even before he came in, that means this man knows exactly, there is a clarity of purpose. You understand?
Yeah.
There's a clarity of purpose. So I'm very, very excited for the future of Nigeria as far as the consumer credit and the students loan schemes are concerned. Think of a situation whereby a very poor parent will not have to sit down in his office worried about where to get the next school fee for his children.
Yeah.
He's not thinking about, okay, I need to steal 1 million naira at once or 5 million naira at once before I can get the next car that I
Even
need.
bachelors can get married.
You see, the reason why young Nigerians are leaving Nigeria is majorly because they feel, okay, this 200,000 job, how long will I have to do it before I can buy my own house, before I can live a good life? Fine, there are issues of insecurity, infrastructure. But come to think of when you have an improved standard of living, you understand?
For
you don't think
everyone.
about, okay, the only thing I want to do is just to get a good job. I get a proper credit card. From there, I need a car, I can get it. So people should be excited.
Just to add, if you look at the economic benefit too,
Okay.
Having a consumer credit system, you now see that people have increased purchasing power. You see competition that will arise between manufacturers in the market.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. Productivity.
Increased productivity. I get to see people not competing on the rates or interest or whatever.
Yes.
So that this will also drive
The economy.
local production,
Yeah.
drive a lot of positives. for-
And of course, there'll be more jobs.
Exactly.
There are more
It's very
jobs.
opening for
Yeah.
people. So it is very important.
I actually studied the student loan, the NEL fund, that chapter creating that NEL fund, and I got to know that you can actually be a doctor in Nigeria. You've gone through subsidized education. You go to the United States. You travel Nigeria, you do not want to work in Nigeria, you just travel to Massachusetts or New York, and you get there, and you're competing with somebody who has gone through 7 years of, medical collegiate, and is running on student loan, which is supposed to be repaid. And Nigeria, you're just there enjoying Nigeria facility, and you said nothing, Nigeria has done nothing.
Nigeria has done a lot.
Too bad.
And they've actually made the repayments plan very simple.
Yes.
Like it's quite simple.
Quite simple.
And if you look at the charter, it's simplified there. They're actually looking for ways to empower you while studying.
While studying.
So that means once you have a skill, right, you want to make up, cake, making, automate, everything.
Yeah.
That way, once you're graduated, it is very possible for you to get a job on your own, self-made, while of course you're paying 10%
Yeah.
of your monthly income. I mean, I believe so many Nigerians will be excited because
Sure.
our fathers, they will tell us.
You're even forgetting you're even forgetting something.
It's a very
Okay.
The president thought of the initiative of including what was the artisans,
artisans.
Yeah. The skill of skill.
Vocational.
vocational students. Apart from that, the total sum that each student can get is running up to like 500,000.
Sure.
And from the 500,000 is not just your school fee. There will be some amount, a token that will be paid to your account for upkeep. So you can pay your rent. You can for
do
photocopies
anything.
and all those things you need to do on campus.
Yeah.
And see, this is a very, very massive scheme. People should be excited.
Of course.
You are not thinking of stealing to take your children to school. You are not thinking of stealing before you buy AC in your house, before you buy big cars,
cars.
before you buy a new house. Mortgage.
Wow.
The plan for mortgage is massive. Because, okay, I think the Renewed Hope Cities,
Yes.
currently the MD, I read recently, has met with like 7 or 10 governors. Many of them they already gave him land.
Yes.
They already allocated land for him.
Already.
Yes. And in Abuja,
was flagged up
the
in
Karsana,
Yes.
I think that one is 40,000 or so units.
Yes.
The plan
And
is to make sure
yeah. flag off to in Lagos for
Yes,
3,000.
3,000.
Yeah.
come to think of a stage where we have enough affordable houses, 7 million, 10 million for people of different sizes, of depending on how much you are making monthly.
And you're not looking at the downside to the manufacturing sector where you have to buy more.
The multiplier effect.
Of course. Yeah.
Man, see, the more houses we are able to build, the more the cement seller will sell.
Yes.
Cement seller will need to import more people. We need to employ more people.
Yeah.
You understand? Because he's producing more now. No, the cement
Need
seller.
more hands.
Yes, we have the retailers too, the cement retailers and all that. And
Thank you very much.
Think of-
Let's move to another part of the story. Let's talk about the inherited projects. There are so many projects ongoing right now at the moment, and one of them is the Lagos Calabar Coastal Highway project. I don't know.
it's not
Sorry.
It's
But
fresh from the scratch.
there are so many projects going on, from the previous administration, that's President Muhammadu Buhari, and President Bola Ahmed Tinubu is going on,
Yes.
about those projects.
Yes.
What do you have to say? Is there any, improvement, any achievement so far as regards this project?
Sure, it's one thing in governance is people must understand that continuity, has a lot of positives. When you have people coming to government, try to maybe jettison what the previous person has done, it doesn't really help the country. But in a situation where what the previous administration has done is being sustained by a new administration in place, it shows that the new person understands, shows maturity in governance.
Yeah.
And so, if you look at the projects that we've seen, the refineries, in Rail Revolution, today we have the Port Harcourt to Aba, functioning. That's
the Abuja Metro Rail.
exactly the Abuja Metro.
Yes.
Should be commissioned.
Lagos State.
On 29th of May.
29th of May, yes.
Commission very soon.
Okay.
We talk about
Lagos Ibadan still ongoing.
the one from Kaduna down to Kano. The track laying of one of the lanes has been done
Okay.
by CEC. Those projects are they're still ongoing.
And the ones that
Despite transition in government.
they are functioning very well.
Exactly. So this is it's a commendable.
I even saw a link yesterday on NRC's page. Was it yesterday or the day before yesterday? I think they've tried to digitalize the ticketing system.
So
that's part of continuity.
You also look at Zungeru.
Zungeru Power, yes.
Exactly.
Zungeru was
added more megawatts. To our,
inherited from the former administration.
Okay.
I understand. So
There's something we are missing. There was this dastardly attack on the Abuja Kaduna
Yes.
unfortunate incident.
Yeah.
Now, the police now is providing area surveillance and support for passengers on that route. Yes. For them to, security, and I hope, of course, we sustain that momentum because it's very important to secure infrastructure.
also, when we are talking about inherited, let me not call it projects alone because there were some deals in place to acquire more aircrafts and all that.
Okay.
The president came in and wasn't like, okay, I'm going to abandon all these plans and all that. He has paid for many that will be delivered now.
That
You
was why
understand? All those deals.
of buying a presidential yacht. He didn't buy the yacht.
Those are some of the things we need to tell people.
And
You
the list was
understand?
all
It was
over.
inherited and they had to pay for it. And it's not even a presidential yacht where you see maybe Buhari or Tinubu on it one day during parties. It's for the Nigerian Navy, it's for security, it's for surveillance purpose.
And to
understand?
To
So-
buttress what he's saying about the government is the continuum.
Yeah.
And one thing about the progressive administration, the progressive government, is that there's progressivism. Okay, this is not about chop and chop. PDP has not been able to complete their data plaza
For years.
Yes.
After 12 billion naira was spent, that place is housing, so many
Wild animals. Yes.
So now the president has actually put into motion so many things to hit the continuance of that project. The East-West Road has been on our patrols on the Nigerian state, for passengers around Port Harcourt and that axis.
Okay.
Now the current Minister of Works, Engineer Dave Umahi, came in, saw that some of the structures, there's a need for structural adjustment on that highway. So he's now developing a new structure that will encapsulate, bringing in concrete pavement technology. You understand? Because that place is quite, I think it's swampy, extremely swampy. So the asphalt, once it's laid, it's washing off very easily. So it's trying to bring in a new technology. The Bodoboni Bridge is still ongoing.
It's still ongoing.
Okay, they never stopped.
It's massive.
The Enugu Bamenda Cameroon Super Highway then that was facilitated by President Muhammadu Buhari and the African Development Bank then has been completed. It was completed and when the administration was going to be launched. And one thing that people are not really putting into cognizance is the fact that the president on inauguration decided to visit Germany, met with the German Chancellor on how we can, further that agreement between the former president, and Nigeria on the cement power deal.
Accelerate the process.
The president knew in his wisdom then, I'm talking about former President Buhari, that there's too much bottlenecks in the administration in Nigeria, too many bureaucracies. So he decided to launch a presidential initiative for power development. Yes. So now it's like a government to government, president to president. You don't have to go through the paperwork of the ministry and all those, bureaucratic bullshit. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Now this president came in, decided to, continue, and now they've been able to launch so many substations.
Yeah.
The last one will be the one in Benin in Kebbi State, and the one in Raja in Lagos. These are part and parcel of the cement power deal. It's going to be in 3 phases, and of course, no thanks to COVID-19, who took away into that, but then it's still ongoing, and of course, by the special grace of God, we will continue.
Another part of let me add something to the continuity part, and which is some of the acts that were signed by former President Muhammadu Buhari. The Electricity Act, President Tinubu came, refined some of it. Give the states power to generate, transmit, and do whatever with their own, and up to 3-4 states now have already keyed into the
state. I know about the states.
Okay.
Yeah, I think Ondo State is also doing something in that regard.
Okay.
And Enugu. Enugu. I think I heard Enugu too. Another thing is the PIA Act by Petroleum Industry. So the essay to the president on gas and water energy. She came up with some executive orders recently. That's part of the development that followed the PIA Act. So the president has been able to continue with some of the most impactful things the former administration started. You understand? So
look at the refinery. It's still ongoing. It's 1.5 billion.
And very recently, the president also commissioned gas infrastructure. We started with the last administration. We talk about the ANOH, gas pipeline projects. We talk about the ANOH gas processing plants in Imo State. Some of these projects are projects that started by the last administration.
Yes. And they're still working on a AKK gas line. Anytime you pass,
that would be massive.
To be big. To be big. And considering the fact that there is a plan in place now to make sure we adopt CNG use in Nigeria. Okay. You understand? I'm excited. I'm excited about the prospects of CNG. You understand?
Why?
Because Nigeria has more gas than oil.
Yes.
And we've not been able to explore that due to whatever reasons. But thank God for former President Muhammadu Buhari, who has started investments in this gas, this thing. The president is continuing with, and now what President Tinubu wants to do is to create an environment whereby whenever we are through with all those infrastructures, the people will be readily available to take it, to make use of it for their cars, for their
cooking.
major uses.
He said he was going to compete with Russia. He actually thought it's
So he was saying he was saying it from the perspective of, see, we have this thing.
We have it. We have the
We have
potential.
to use it.
Yes.
And he's already putting them in place.
The presidential CNG initiative is going on quite well, as far as I know.
Okay.
You understand? And in the next few days, I expect them to launch the first
buses,
batch of the
yes,
buses. You
yes.
understand? Like 400, we are expecting like 400.
stations.
Now, there are more jobs that will be created through that too. You understand? Yes, because I think MRS was given a license to come up with a station.
Okay.
Their station, they'll be recharging, they were refilling cars and all that. They will have refilling stations in like 3, 4, 5 places. So
And you see,
these are opportunities to create new jobs. I saw a lot of comments on social media recently. How many jobs has President Bola Ahmed Tinubu created? I don't blame them.
Journalists would not even
Seriously.
try.
When the conversation is being led by people who are supposed to make research, and those people are not doing the job they're supposed to do, they just come out there, put out any opinion, and people jump
want
on
to
it.
make money from Elon Musk.
Without verification.
Thousands of jobs.
Okay, so
on
let's
CNG
talk
alone.
about the cost of governance in Nigeria.
Okay.
Is there any difference at all? Like looking at the previous governments, the previous
on
president,
the cost of
the last
governance.
one, is there any difference at all?
Yes, on the cost of governance, the president has taken several decisions
Yes.
that I believe Nigerians loved when he did it. For the first, there were lots of issues with the COP28. How many people were supposed to go there? There were lots of controversies. And
The answer is
President Bola Ahmed Tinubu came, and the first thing he did was, okay, from today on,
Only 25 people.
only 25 people will follow. And that's if it is necessary. That's for the president, 25 people.
What about the
Maximum.
vice president?
The vice
and
president was
first lady?
20.
I think 20, yeah. The first
lady-
5 was.
they had the
8
cap.
or so.
They had the cap on.
So, unlike the issue they had with COP28, where about 4,000, whatever people.
Yeah.
Fine. I had the official list from the presidencies around maybe 700, 600 or 400 or so. But the president felt, okay, this is not sustainable. You understand?
He even stopped me.
This is not sustainable. Yes.
From going abroad and from traveling to, at best, what you call just gerrymandering. Yeah.
Yes.
Just merry making.
Okay.
Up there.
And
If you're not
I think we are forgetting something.
Social assignment.
We are forgetting something.
important venture.
Okay.
We are forgetting something. We had
Going overseas.
the Orosanye report on ground for how many years now? 12 years or so.
Yes.
How many presidents have we had since then? None of them had the political will
Just been
to
fighting him.
To talk about
okay, let's do this. Do you know how much that will cost merging unnecessary, and I won't call them unnecessary though, agencies that
have
duplicated functions. Okay, let's merge them together. You understand? That's part of effort to cut the cost of governance by the president. You understand?
Sure.
Part of governance is also all these subsidy, whatever. These things are being removed to make sure the money is available for the real projects that needs to be done to better the lives of Nigerians.
But in this Code of Governance discussion, no thanks to our National Assembly, we've seen something different from them. Doing talk about what they allocate to themselves or what they have done in terms of their official vehicles and remuneration accrued to them. I do think that if the Nigerian political class was be very want to be fair with Nigerians, we should see this cut across all strata. We can talk about the executive, but what's the legislature? What are they doing? To see that cost of governance on their own side and not is not what
The executives alone will be doing.
exactly.
Yeah.
So I think they should help us. They should help Nigerians.
Okay.
So for us to also see that they are they are also you are telling us to make sacrifices. Well, they want to see sacrifices from their own end too.
Thank you very much. Let's talk about the passport reform. A lot of Nigerians are saying, oh, it's now taking them 2 weeks, a week, or a few days for them to get their passports. I'm not sure about that, but let us talk about it. Do you have an idea
Yeah, I did my passport recently.
No, I never thought it should be possible to know anything about the Interior Ministry other than holiday announcement
Okay.
until the president came on board and decided to revolutionize that ministry.
Without fairness to former Minister of Interior, he started a little bit of revolution in passport reforms. It built so many offices.
Elisha.
He tried to break that burden
the responsibility
of
of the
responsibility, you understand, so that there will be more access. But Tujo came with a lot of zeal. You understand? Yes. Apart from the problems of the offices being solved by the former administration, Tujo came in with a lot of zeal. You understand? A lot of energy, a lot of political will to make sure the contractors printing the passports do what they are supposed to do. Because I heard the problem is they get paid, then they start complaining about papers and it sat them down. Are you ready to do this or not? Let's find a new set of people. And
bro, diasporans cannot wait
see,
to meet.
They can't.
I mean,
They can't.
They are really happy with what is doing.
So,
like I wanted to share my
e-gate system,
Yes.
so many things the guy is doing. There's and one thing is very fundamental about the Interior Ministry. When they came on board, I think they did a prognosis of our correctional centers. And they found out that there were too many Nigerians languishing in
innocent people, all for
peanuts.
crimes. Yeah, that is finable.
People were in cell for just for
Very petty.
fines, bail of just 4,000
naira.
5,000 naira.
5,000 naira, yeah.
No, they were actually convicted,
Yes.
but there were fines that
They're supposed to
pay. Yeah, instead of
Like options.
And of course, you know,
Yeah.
when we talk about cost of governance too, that's about that. So I think he actually met with the private sector.
Okay.
They keyed into that plan.
Yeah.
Then I think
They offset it.
within a week they
offset.
came about with 5.5 million.
Without question one call
Yes,
to help
or the federal government, it came out with 585 million naira to free these Nigerians. They are not innocent. All right, they are not innocent, but they are taking too much space. I mean, we need the real criminal, the bandits, all this to come into play. But yes, we need the ones that have just stolen paper, pen, pencil, you know, to go out and say, "Oh, go and say no more." You understand? And this is actually it's also falls under the auspice of cost of governance.
Yes.
And so when you're trying to because now you have lesser mouth to feed,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
Yes, then the overcrowding in the halls. 4,000, that's a whole lot.
Of course.
And I actually think they should actually, you know, continue with
There's
that.
a lot of good news now.
Yes.
The interior. And
I think when you're talking about things Nigerians go through every day, one of the most stressful ones is the passport application process. You go there sometimes, you spend 3, 7, 8, 12 hours a whole day. In fact, they might ask you to come back 3, 4, 5 times.
Yes.
About the issue of insecurity, what do you guys have to say about that?
For insecurity in Nigeria, I think we have come a long way. Yes, starting from the administration of President Muhammad Buhari, we had to fight a lot of terrorism, Boko Haram. Then it was basically terrorism, like pure terrorism. Boko Haram every day. This other one, what do they call them? ISWAP and all that. So he was able to degrade them to a very great level before he left. And when President Bola Ahmed Tinubu would come in, it was basically about kidnapping. You understand? Before the end of the day, you've heard about 5 or 6 news about people being kidnapped, Lagos Ibadan Expressway, Abuja, and all that. But now, over the past 2 months, I think the news of any kidnapping has really gone down.
That has been recorded.
So there's been so much strides made in terms of insecurity over the past 6, 4, 5 months. You understand? So, and that goes back to how much investment has been made so far in terms of infrastructure in security, getting new aircrafts, empowering the soldiers and all that. You understand? The motivation, and most importantly, the NIMC and all those identity agencies, they've been working on a lot in making sure that the data, you understand, is being used to tackle the issue of insecurity in Nigeria. You understand? So these are some of the things that has led to the decrease from our home's point of view.
Okay.
And I think most people in Nigeria can attest to that fact. You understand that insecurity has really gone down.
under President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. We hope it continues this way.
It will.
Understand? So I think also we are not talking about the issues we had in Abuja like a few months ago, whereby most big places in Abuja, Lugbe, Buhari,
Yes. Even Papi.
kidnappers
Yeah.
will enter estates, kidnap people, and all that.
Yeah. At that time, there was a really big scare, for Abuja residents, looking at that situation. But I think the Honorable Minister, Honorable Yesom Wike, Nyereshi has done a very good job. You see how he's been able to, when it was hot, he came out, stakeholder engagement. We saw him collaborating, in finding out what our forces needed, providing them with all the logistics and support. And today, what we heard in Abuja is now a thing of the past. Security has improved within the Federal Capital Territory, and that's a very commendable one. And we just do hope that they sustain the tempo, make sure that their forces are well motivated to do their job, and we'll be better off for it. I think so.
When you talk about insecurity, bedeviling Nigeria, of course, the most evident result so far in this administration has been the results gotten from the southeast. Before now, the southeastern part of Nigeria used to be a hotbed for criminality. Yes, IPOB was running riots, ESN was just doing anyhow. Yeah, it was the anyhowness was mad, right? But then the thing is, the president was able to bring this under control. All the first 3 months. And we started, seeing stakeholders engagement.
I remember very vividly when the president met with the stakeholders from the southeast, then to talk about nipping this whole thing in the bud. It is befuddling, unbecoming, that a set of people will just be wrapped in their bedrooms on a Monday morning. You understand? So, he knew what he would do. He came on board, ordered the Inspector General of Police, IGP Egbetokun, to go to the southeast. He went there, they did what they had to do, and now this is the result. It's evident. Southeast is relatively more peaceful than it was then. So kudos to him. He has really been able to do a lot when it comes to insecurity.
I think we can probably measure the impact of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's activities or efforts on insecurity through the ability of the farmers to go back to farm.
That's impacted on agriculture.
Yes, very, very massive impact on agriculture. Unlike before, where if you go to the farm, you have chances of being killed or
kidnapped.
I'm not saying it's not happening anymore. It has reduced so much. So that has impacted the ability of farmers to get us more. I saw this news recently also that rice paddy now is more available to rice millers and all that. Tomato prices have come down. Then a lot of other
Cocoa, the price of cocoa is a good man.
are coming down, and that's because more farmers are now able to go to the farm and all that. So I hope all of them are good.
Then for the government to have cultivated 72,000 hectares of land for wheat farming, that's massive. That's a whole lot.
Very massive.
You understand? And at no point in time did we hear that workers on that farm, on these farms were kidnapped or it's really a good thing that we are now looking at agriculture in a sustainable way. Because when you see the African development,
we're not worried about insecurity.
And you have less news about farmers leaders clash.
Unlike before.
Exactly. Yes.
That's another one.
That's another
one.
Thank you so much. What do you think the legacy project of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, the project that he has put in place? I know of the Lagos-Calabar coastal highway. It's everywhere. People are aware. What do you think about it?
Well, it's a massive project. I know a lot of controversies are surrounding it currently, and that's because we've not seen anything like that before in history of federal. In fact, it's a very distinct project. In Africa, I don't think we have something like that.
It's a project of gargantuan proportion.
It's big. It's massive. 700 kilometers. Connects the southwest to the southern region.
South.
So is big. The potentials are massive. Let's talk about the jobs that will be created alongside the coast, the new beaches that will be
spring up.
will be
They are next.
You understand?
Yeah.
Let's talk about the Ilaje beach.
Beachfront, yeah.
Has been moribund for a very long time, or let's say that people have not been using
Tinapa Resort.
Tinapa Resort.
Yes.
The
Ibeno
there's
Beach.
one
There's
in
Ibeno
Ibeno
Beach,
in
yes.
Akwa Ibom.
Yes.
Understand? Jobs will be created along that coastline. That's the first one. The second one is you are shortening a journey of around 15 hours to 7 hours. It's massive. Like the impact on the transportation system, and let's not forget the fact that it's going to have another railway in between. You understand? So that's you created. Then it will be told from the plans they have on ground. I think it will be told.
Yeah.
So the potentials are just massive. You understand? And that's just for Lagos to Calabar highway alone. I think the Minister of Works mentioned it recently that they've started the design on Sokoto to Badagry.
Yeah, that's
Okay, so
one of the sport.
it has two major spurs. Okay, so one of the spurs will be the 1,000-kilometer road that will be connecting from Badagry in Lagos
Down
to
to
Sokoto.
Sokoto, yeah.
And to pass through the North Central, that's Nasarawa, Ugi, to terminate at Sokoto in the northwest. There is also the other spur, which will begin from Enugu, to go through Abakaliki, that's in Ebonyi, to go through Ogoja, you understand, up to Apo in Abuja.
Yeah.
Do you understand? So now, how massive the project is cannot be explained using words. Okay, this is something that even the opposition members have predicted that should happen. In a utopian Nigeria, they've predicted that, because there have been some conversations around it that if Nigeria was a serious country, we should be thinking about building roads from Lagos, and all of a sudden now, this man from Lagos came in and he decided to, okay, let's do this. And they have issues. They have issues. Now, the issue I have is not the issue they have with the roads. The issue I have is how Nigerians are now trying to, downplay the effort that other Nigerians are quite appreciative of. Now, we've seen opposition figures like the senator from Bayelsa, Bemuri Bruce.
Yes.
They've come out ferociously to support this. And this was because this project was first idealized by a man named Festus Okotiebo. He's a former finance commissioner in 1955. Yeah, he idealized this project and said, there should be a project from Lokoja, they do this, let's connect this coastal ring. Then Ashwaju became governor in 1999. One of the things they discussed there with themselves, the 1999 colleagues then, that was like, okay, of course, we can actually do this project, but then because Obasanjo then, of the PDP, the low-cost era of PDP, they were not interested in infrastructure. They were not. And that's why you see their projects, their PDP headquarters still languishing. They are, after billions of dollars, millions are wasted.
Yes,
I can't wait to use the Lagos Calabar.
Yeah,
I can't wait.
I like to come in. I like to come in here. You see, for a country like Nigeria, you're talking about the negative comments we've seen on this particular project. A country like Nigeria that has a very large infrastructural deficit. This is a project ordinarily that people who are thinking should say that we should have done this 10, 20 years ago. Yeah. And you see somebody that is wanting to do it, and you're saying that why you should focus on something else. Well, one thing in particular is about the former presidential candidates of the LP, talking about Peter Obi, who said a lot about this project. Something like that is quite funny to me, and I commend the move of the Ohaneze Ndigbo, who came out to
yes, I like that, to say that
they are not with him,
yes,
and that they are backing, and they are backing Engineer Dave Umahi, and what he's doing. Who is a bona fide son of Igbo land? They've left
politicking now, and they are in governance mode.
Former Governor Obi.
No.
If you are not a visionary, you cannot
think in that direction. Yeah.
For the president to come out recently,
so it is so much complaint.
It is a legacy project.
If you were to have become the president of it, you will not think about it.
Yeah.
So the president recently they put together infrastructure. They call it Renewed Hope Infrastructure Development Fund, right? Yeah. So the idea is that for Nigeria to, bridge that infrastructure deficit, $35 billion must be spent every year up till 2040.
Yeah.
You right? Now you have a president now who is saying, okay, let's do this 15.6 trillion naira. Let's put it into this. And one thing we are failing to, put into consideration is the fact that the project is coming under EPC plus F. Yeah. So that is yes, yeah. He's talking about the project financing.
Yeah.
Counterpart funding will come from the government, which is 30%.
That's a very important.
Then the consortium will also supply the 30%.
PPP
You understand? But then the design is coming from the government.
The design is coming from the contractors.
The contractors.
Yes, they supply the contractor, the design, the engineering, and all that. The funding, counterpart funding, will come from the government.
Yes, but the Minister of Works, Engineer Dave Umahi, has emphasized continuously that it's going to be concrete pavement down to the 700 kilometers.
Exactly.
It's going to be, and of course they've started already. Yes, it shows the intention of the president. Like he really wants to do this, right? The first it's not because he wants to play politics with it. They are the ones playing politics with infrastructure. The president is really passionate about this. We talk about Mumbai, this thing is there. We talk about Hong Kong, it's there. Now it's come to Nigeria during the election, during the electionary campaign. This guy, the guy you mentioned the other time, I don't want to mention his name because I don't think he's worth it. He said at different fora that you cannot develop an economy using infrastructure, right? He also said at every point in time, whenever he gives his wrong statistics, that go to Bangladesh, go to Pakistan, go to now we are trying to bring in first class, first class, yes, a world class infrastructure that will have a rail line in between, right? So that means I can decide to just wake up in Ondo and say, I want to go and watch Warri Wolves in Warri, right? Within 2 hours, and I'm back already. You see the scenery, the waterways, understand? Like it's fascinating.
One important thing too is that this project is going to help serve communities along the coastal line.
Yes,
especially those who have issues of flooding, people, communities who are being ravaged by the flood and all of that. So this project will now see government committing to mitigating some of these things from happening. And it's been a perennial issue, something they faced over time. But with this project, they are sure to see that the federal government is going to ensure that in committing funds to this project, they're also going to fight the tides that these communities are faced with, especially during the rains. And it's a very, very big project, a legacy one, and we commend the administration of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu for taking on this audacious project. Thank you.
Before one thing to add to that, before these projects began, the most audacious project in Africa was the Eco-Atlantic City, which was also being undertaken by this same ITEC, that they want us to believe in their widest imagination are incompetent. Do you understand? Like when you look at this project, the promises, it's come on,
massive,
and
enormous.
Also, that's the NNPP guy. He has commended the president. The PDP guys, of course, they're exacted because you have more PDP states in the south. Yes, and the funniest thing is, you have somebody from the southeast leading this project.
Yes.
Right, saying that this project must come to reality. So, in the words of Dati Baba Ahmed, we can only sympathize with Obi.
Yes.
And of course, the obedience.
Yeah, you sympathize with them. Personally, I actually sympathize with them.
Thank you so much, guys. It's been a very wonderful session with you, and hope to see you guys again.
Yes, when they finish the project, of course.
Okay, viewers, that will be all for today on Pivans Media Center's Your Voice podcast. My name is Adekoja Adebite. Till we meet again. Bye for now.